Well, what can I say about our small world of video games? Well, let's face it, you're not a small world if you're an industry richer and larger than Hollywood and all of its bad movies. But it wasn't always that way. In fact, the video game industry almost destroyed itself when it was overflooded with games, and the industry ran out of lies, so to speak. Let's start at the beginning, with the granddaddy of all video games, Atari. Back in the day, Atari dominated and was the king of home consoles. Of course, nowadays we probably think it sucks, but keep in mind, this was back when your parents were kids, babies, or even on the way here. Atari was simple in its controls. It had a joystick and a button. Why? 'Cause that's all you needed. Take Pong for example. You only need the joystick. Anyways, the main money maker was the Atari 2600. Then came the 5200, which sucked. Why? Well, look at it. The thing was huge. Not to mention, the controller was big as well. People bought it and realized it sucked. The 200 was used and it outlived the 5200. That was the start of what's now known as the video game crash from 1983. What happened? Atari had major competition. Third-party members began making games for the Atari without Atari's permission. The famous one was Activision. Anyone could make a game, and Atari didn't see a dime from these people. So, with everyone making these video games, not necessarily good ones, the market was jammed and overflooded, and Atari almost destroyed the market. Almost. Until Nintendo came and saved the market. Originally a card-making industry, Nintendo came to America and captured gamers, reignited the passion for games with the Nintendo Entertainment System, NES, or the family computer, the Famicom. Thanks to this guy, Shigeru Miyamoto, and his great imaginations, games were fun again. Nintendo had taken the spotlight. And thanks to a chip, only games that were licensed by Nintendo could work on the NES or Famicom. But of course, when one is successful, there comes someone else who wants to challenge him. Introducing Sega and the Genesis. This 16-bit console dominated the NES in every way, and even boasted with the slogan, "Genesis does what Nintendo don't." This made Nintendo gamers mad, and began the console wars, much like Xbox 360 and the PS3 today. Nintendo saw this and fought back with the Super NES, again, dominating games. However, Sega had one thing that was still major at. The speed processor was a bit faster, so of course, the Genesis was still best at one thing. As technology progressed, so did video games. Nintendo 64 came out, and it really had great games. Honestly, it dominated video games as well. And Sega, well, they had their video game consoles as well, but they just couldn't make it as well as the Nintendo 64. Sega just couldn't keep up. Now, Nintendo did release a couple of handhelds, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advanced, and the DS's and 3DS's. However, I'm not going to cover those, not that they weren't important, they were, but I'm mainly just covering the home consoles here, not the handhelds. However, they did have their great competitors like the Sega Game Gear and the Atari Lynx. Back to Nintendo. Nintendo released the Nintendo GameCube, which really wasn't all that great, compared to everyone else at least. All GameCube really did was just allow players to connect their Game Boy Advance to the console and play games with that. While other competitors like the PlayStation 2, the Xbox, and the Sega Dreamcast really had better games, at least ratings speaking. But Nintendo didn't want to just go into mature games as the others did. Instead, they stuck to their family-friendly service that they always provided, and provided some really great games. However, Nintendo really stepped up their game with the release of the Nintendo Wii, allowing people to play games as if they were actually on the TV. It was amazing. They had motion controls, which, of course, people still had mixed feelings about. But, of course, some people actually liked the idea and put it into their own games. Hint, hint. Well, that's all I gotta say for now. So, on to my friend to explain what happened on the other side that wasn't Nintendo.
Okay, so now on to my portion. First off, we'll be starting with one of my personal favorite systems, the PlayStation 1. This had an array of great games, one of which was the Final Fantasy series, which I enjoyed greatly. Now, the PlayStation 1 was revolutionary because it was completely different from any other system that had come out prior. It basically, it looked real to the people back in that time. It looked real, like it was a movie that you were playing, because it featured cinematics and stuff that looked really, really cool. PlayStation 1 also had the game Crash Bandicoot, which you were like this weird marsupial, and you were lost on an island and didn't know where you were, and you go through the whole game trying to defeat the evil, big-headed bad guy who wants to destroy the world. Now, on to the PlayStation 2. The PlayStation 2 is one of my most favorite systems. I really loved having this thing. It was really cool. It featured some really popular titles like God of War, which was a really epic game where you were this guy, Kratos, who was betrayed by the gods, and you just take revenge like there's no tomorrow. You also had the Sly Cooper series, which is very near and dear to my heart because I played this with my dad when I was little, and I was really excited for the release of the brand new one that just came out like last year, I think. You also have Ratchet and Clank, which you're this weird cat thing, and you get to go fly through space with a robot partner and blow stuff up with big guns. And you also have Kingdom Hearts, which was a game made by Squaresoft, the guys that made Final Fantasy. And it's really cool. It's a really vivid experience, almost like you're in a dream. And there's a lot of worlds and some really lovable characters, and you meet a lot of really great friends along the way. You'll also see some characters you recognize if you actually go and play the game, but I'm not going to give away any spoilers. The PlayStation 2 was really remarkable because it featured graphics like no other. The games beat everything, pretty much everything else on the market, except for its main competitor, even still today, the Xbox. Now, the Xbox was a great system too. I'm not taking sides. It had great games like Halo or Fable. It had Gran Turismo. Now, on to the PlayStation 3. This system is a more modern system, as you all know, and it features some really great games like Infamous, which is the story of Cole McGrath being turned into a real-life superhero, and Devil May Cry, which there are some other ones too, like Uncharted, Drake's Deception, Little Big Planet, and it's just... Now, in all fairness, I will do the Xbox 360. The Xbox 360 is a really great console, pretty much equivalent to the PlayStation 3. Except, well, you have an obvious difference in publisher. Also, some really great games come out for the Xbox and only the Xbox, like Gears of War came out for only the Xbox. There's also the Halo series, which is really popular. And you also, the Xbox 360 is really great for like racing games and stuff too, which I love, but the Xbox 360 is also a bit pricier than PlayStation. For one, the system is about $100 more expensive upon release. Also, you have to pay pretty much monthly for the use of Xbox Live. But the Xbox also does feature the Xbox Live Arcade, which has many great games like Minecraft and some other Xbox exclusives. So this pretty much wraps up our history on video games. I hope you all enjoyed this iMovie, and it will probably be uploaded to YouTube later after we receive our grade on the project. And cue boring end credits.